So this is it, man. The
Ah,
holiday season is upon us. DDP, Dallas, Diamond Dallas Page. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Elite. The holiday season's here. What are you ready for this, or is it that's kind of a general question? What, are you ready for the holidays? Or ready for Christmas?
well, my house looks like a winter wonderland. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I like if I took a tour around my house upstairs, you would think, man, these guys blow Macy's away. Like, I'm not kidding. Our house is ridiculous. It's got we start decorating around. We pull everything up in October and start decorating right after Halloween.
That's
Right,
just
literally.
that's just tremendous. Well, we hope you
Yeah.
guys have a wonderful one, of course. Dallas, man, we got so much going on. As is typical with you, there's a lot of talking points, a lot of things going on in your life, man. This upcoming film, Relentless. Tell us about this. It looks just tremendous. When can we see this? Just saw the trailer. When's this thing going to be coming out? It kind of chronicles your journey of bringing DDP yoga to the masses. When can we get a look at this thing?
Yeah, it's really like a journey for the last 20 years of my life.
Mm.
The It'll be up on Amazon Prime probably in the next 7 to 10 days. Right now, our documentary, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, is up there right now. But what's really interesting about Resurrection, I should say, Relentless, is the journey it took to get there. Like, I didn't start to try to become a professional wrestler. Actually, get back. I wrestled when I was 23. I had 3 matches. I sucked. Hurt my knee. Ended up running a little rock and roll bar. I'd been in the bar business at that point for 5 years, and I went off to do just nightclubs. And then at 31, I made a decision. I'm going to try to get back into wrestling as a manager. I'm too old to be a wrestler, and I ended up working with the AWA, still running my nightclub, not giving up my night job. Uh, I went to Florida Championship Wrestling. I worked with Dusty Rhodes. He became one of my closest friends and mentors. When he came back into WCW, he brought me in as a manager and color commentator. But after, like, working for 5 or 8 months in, I had finally signed a contract, but they weren't going to let me manage anymore. And I was like, whoa, what did I do wrong? And they're like, well, it's not your fault. Kind of, this is who I look like. You know, the
You
the
you
the
you
boy
managed
in the
you
front.
managed the Diamond Stud back then, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Hall,
Yeah,
who
exactly.
aka Razor Ramon. And I actually created that gimmick for him. But my point is, it took me 8 years to be an overnight success in professional wrestling. I started in 1988. My career took off in 1996. And it's the same exact thing that happened with DDP Yoga, or as I'm branding it now, DDPY. Why? Because I want people to stop calling it just effing yoga, because it's not. Um, but it took 8 years to be an overnight success.
It just seems like you've had so many, ups and downs in your life. The wrestling injuries, is that kind of what led you to creating this? Because you've been someone that said, I'm not doing yoga. It's for sissies. I'm not doing this. But the injuries, they piled up. You started late in your career. In fact, I told you it's Noah's birthday. We're 36. That's how old you were when you started. But by the time you're 43 or 44, man, your knees are shot. Your back's beat all to hell. And is that kind of what really
Well,
springboarded this?
yeah, kind of. I didn't start wrestling until I was 35 and a half. My career took off when I was 40, which was in 96, 97, and 98. I worked a feverish schedule. Anybody who's on top like that, you're wrestling 22 to 26 days a month. It's not just Monday nights or Thursday nights. It's, you have house shows and you got to travel 100, 200, 300 miles, fly cross country. It's a crazy schedule. And on top of that, doing the Tonight Show, Hollywood Squares, all that stuff. I think I really was off like just 29 days in 97 and like 32 days in 98. And then I blew my back out. And it wasn't Kevin Nash's power bomb, because he's trying to take care of me. It ain't checkers though. You can't fake gravity. And it was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. and it ruptured my L4 and L5. And I got told by 3 different spine specialists I'd never be able to wrestle again. And I just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal that will go away in 6 months if I don't get back in the ring. So I had finally gotten paid, and the guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga would try anything. And that's how it started.
Well, there were some lean years there trying to get DDP Yoga off the ground. You found an opportunity on a TV show, Shark Tank. How disappointed were you in the fact that you didn't get a deal on that show, and what direction did you go after that? And one last thing, how bad did you want to give Mr. Wonderful that diamond cutter?
I'll tell you, I got to be honest. I had so much fun on that show. Our company had already taken off about a year before we were on that show, mainly because I'd helped that disabled veteran, Arthur Borman. I'd helped him lose 140 pounds. More importantly, I helped him lose the knee braces, the back brace, and the wraparound canes, not just to walk, but run. There's like over 500 million views on that video. And it doesn't say DDPY or DDP Yoga anywhere, but I'm in it for a blip. And if you start to research it, well, you'll find out where it happened, especially now because the way the internet's set up. So it just gave me all the credibility. And I had done that with Arthur 5 years earlier. But in 2012, my business partner, Steve Yu, who is a director genius, he knows how to tell stories. He's the director of The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. We gave credit to a young man named Nathan Mallory, who worked for us, because he put the bulk of Relentless together. But Steve is the director. And Steve was the one who took that video that me and Arthur's son, Warren, did. And he turned it into magic, man. And we didn't know what the word viral meant. And that's in Relentless, we talk about all this because there was so many things that happened. And long story short, it blew our business up. So by the time we got to Shark Tank, we were already successful.
Yeah.
Now, the only person I wanted in it was Mark. Only reason I wanted Cuban was because let me help. I think you say his name, Nowinski, Dirk Nowinski.
Yeah.
One of the greatest players ever. The reason why he's not playing anymore is because he has back issues, and he's gotten older. If I could have worked with him, I know I could have got a year or 2 more out of him. I know it because of all the history with all the guys that I have that do something way more physical than professional basketball. You know, I'm talking about guys like Chris Jericho, guys like myself, but guys like Chris Jericho, who started my program at 41. And his doctor said he was over just like me with his unbelievable herniated disc he had. He just signed last year a 3-year multi-million-dollar deal at 49.
He turned 50. Yeah.
50. You know, so he's one. AJ Styles is another. Drew McIntyre. I mean, every superstar just about in professional wrestling is doing my program. Now we have a partnership with the NFL alumni. I just got an email from the NHL alumni. I haven't followed up on it yet because I've been too busy. But I am going to follow up on that because I love taking care of the athletes who gave me entertainment, you know, and those guys are beat up.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the NFLPA because we have so many former NFL players on this show, and you see some of them, you know, kind of losing their faculty, some of them that are, you know, just in physical, you know, ruin. And I'm so glad that you're able to do that. Whenever you do things like work with them and they have access to your program for free, which is incredible. I think that's awesome, right, man. When you do that, when you see that people change and they change their bodies and they change their lives, do you go back and think about, man, you know, you went into financial ruin to get DDPY off the ground. You almost lost your home. And when you see it come back on the other end, just a testament to hard work and determination, man, this just got to feel great.
You know, it's one of those things that I talk about it in in Relentless, you can't just thank God for all your incredible successes you've had, because every amazing success that I have had has come on a failure, has come off of me looking like that's the worst thing to ever happen to me. And when I blew my back out and I'm listening to these doctors, and I get doctors know a lot of things, but they don't know who I am. They don't know, what I'm going to create to change what they're saying. I mean, I just read we're starting to work with a company called Grunt Style, and they do a lot for the military, and they got really cool t-shirts but they're super military based. And I'm putting this all together for them because we have so many unbelievable, not like testimonies. I'm talking about like reviews on our app, our DDP Yoga Now app, from military guys. And that's the one place, like, I know what my program's worth. And I do give, like 10% off, 20% off. Right now with the holidays, I give 30% off. This is the only time
Wow.
you ever see me do that. But for military, every single day is Veterans Day. Every single day, you're in any branch of the military, it's 50% off.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Always.
Well, that's awesome that you do that. And we've talked about your upcoming film, Relentless, coming on Amazon Prime in 7 to 10 days. We're looking forward to that. But you also talked about the resurrection of Jake the Snake, and that came out back in 2015. Such an inspiring story of you being able to help your former mentor. It was also included Scott Hall. Have you been in contact with these two lately, and just how are they doing?
I talk to Jake all the time, and Scotty and I will get, he's heavily locked down in COVID. And he the one time he came out and he was a little intoxicated. Scotty falls down sometimes, but what I love is if he had fallen down 10 years ago, he'd stayed down and he would not gotten up for years, like literally years. Now it might be a couple of weeks, and then he's good for a couple of months. And he's, as he says, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. Right?
Yeah.
That every day he's getting a little better. And right now, he's real good. That's today. When you have that addiction of drugs and alcohol and pills and coke and crack, like Jake, every day is one day at a time. But same thing with Scotty. He don't take pills because he knows he takes pills, he's done. So, and I've seen him in pain too. And like coming off a hip surgery, hip replacement, and didn't take any painkillers because he knows if he does that, he's in trouble. And with booze, he can actually wean himself off now. And I stopped trying to get him to stop drinking, because I didn't want to lose my friend. And when he gets like that, he knows I'm just going to let him go. So he's ready to get sober again. And then but I'll never lose touch with him. Me and him have always, every time we've ever done anything, we've been really successful in one way or another to help each other. So, day by day, today's good. And Jake is incredible, but he's got some serious issues with the breathing. And he has that OCPD or whatever it's called, oxygen deprivation, and he's got emphysema, and he smokes, and he's down to 3 cigs. He told me today, I said, how many cigs you down to? I just texted him. And he said yesterday, 3. Like 3 is the best number I've ever heard from him.
Yeah,
That's good.
But but when it comes down to breathing or smoking, that shows you how insane an addiction smoking is. And for someone like Jake, he really wanted to change. That's why in Resurrection you see a really, like, he would get really, the shame that comes with that when you really want to change is really hard on people. And Jake, if he didn't already disappoint his family on so many different levels back in the day, he probably would have killed himself. But he said, I'm not going to do that to him too. And
Yeah.
when we first got together, he wanted to die. He didn't want to kill himself, but he wanted to die.
Mm.
And, to watch Resurrection and to see the payoff, which is him and Scott going in the Hall of Fame. Like you would have thought in 2011 or 10 or 9 or 8 or 7, hell, you can go all the way back in the 90s, that those guys were never going in because
Yeah.
they just didn't burn the bridges. They nuclear bombed the bridges. But they came back. Everybody loves redemption. Like I started calling it the resurrection of Jake the Snake almost immediately before he even got to my house. And I always tell people the repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Do you know who said that quote?
No, that was Eric Bischoff.
Nope. I'm going to say it again for people who are listening.
Okay.
The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. Now, an affirmation can be really good, or it can really be bad, like really bad.
It's interesting.
Like, I don't deserve this. This is never going to happen for me. I'm a piece of. Can I curse on this show or not?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Hell
All
yeah.
right. I'm a piece of shit. I'm worthless. Fuck this. I'm never going to be able to do this. It's never going to and that works for people. The people who say that shit to themselves, it works for them because that's where they stay. The people who turn that around are the ones it works for too. And I'll give you the best example. When I was going in the Hall of Fame in 2017, this to me was like my run that I had in WCW was unprecedented. It had never been done. A guy starting at 35 and blowing up at 40 and being the world champion at 43 never happened. When it never will again. It was just the way the stars lined up. So I knew I was going in. I just didn't know when. And when I got the call and I knew I was going in, I wanted to make sure that I thanked everyone who got me there. And I had this 27-minute speech and I had it on my iPad, but that was just for notes. And before I rolled out there, I came out with my 4 daughters. And when I rolled out there, prior to that, it would have been very easy for the voice inside my head to be thinking, what the hell was I thinking? Why would I write something so long? Oh my God, I haven't been in front of this many people, in front of 20,000 people live and millions watching at home. What the hell was I thinking? What if my iPad freezes? What if I forget where I'm at? What if it's not working? Do you guys think that's what I was saying to myself? Not a fucking chance. What I was saying to myself, this is going to be the greatest moment of my life in professional wrestling. I'm going to blow everyone the fuck away. I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to make them cry. I'm going to inspire them. That's the only voice in my brain. Eric Bischoff gave me an unbelievable opening that I only heard pieces of, but later really appreciated the thought he put into that. And I went out there and I killed it. It was the best thing I ever did in the business. Yeah. Afterwards, Beth Phoenix came up to me, who went in the same year. She came up to me after her speech. No, excuse me, before her speech. And she said, Dallas, I have to tell you that I listened to your speech and it gave me such power. Like I was getting in my head and you just knocked all that out of me. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill this. I said, of course you are. And she went out and she killed it. The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief.
Muhammad Ali. I knew it. I knew that one. I knew
Look
it.
it up. You looked it
No,
up.
no. Hands free, DDP.
No, here's what I would have said. Here's what I would have said. I'll say it for everyone who's listening. The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Now, people who didn't hear that, I would have said, here's his affirmation. And then you got to really think about that. Like, I'm going to know who he is by his affirmation, but I don't know the quote. I am the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. You know, at that point, you would have went Muhammad Ali,
Right.
no matter what. But kudos to you, bro, because I've never heard anybody who knew it. I didn't know it till I read it in Brainy Quote, you know, and I was like, that has become my most, because it's something I do all the time, you know, so my go-to.
Well, props to everything. I can't even put into words how much you've meant. I've used DDPY only, you know, I played sports growing up. I'm 36. You don't realize how much just flexibility, mobility you lose. It's insane. And your program has helped beginners, intermediates, all and up. I hope everybody will get the app. Before we let you go, man, and the in-ring career has been so prodigious. There's so many moments and so many things we could touch on, but we got to hit you with our final 3 count, which is 3 quick questions. It'll kind of make it fun, and you just give us whatever comes to mind.
Sure.
First one, do you still have the pink Cadillac that you rode the Honky Tonk Man down to WrestleMania 6 in Toronto in?
Do you mean, where the hell is it? I had it up there. Here it is. Do you mean
that's
this
it?
Pink Cadillac? No, I don't.
Ah.
I used to call that the divorce wife I never had. Now, I've had 2 divorced wives since then, but at that time I didn't. And I constantly was pouring money into that car, and I loved it. And I rode it for 10 years, that car. But no, I don't still have it. No.
We got to locate that. We got to get that to you, DDP. But March 2001, WCW was bought by Vince McMahon. Just take us back to your initial thoughts and emotions upon hearing that.
I always knew that my career was going to end in the WWE. I mean, I just always knew it. I was raised on WWE, and I was ending it there no matter what. I really was bummed out for all the guys who worked for the company, like the camera guys. There's camera guys who've been working that show for Turner for 27 years. Like Moses, my buddy Moses, working there since he was 20 years old. You know, now he's 48, and now he's out of a job. And I felt bad for all the guys. Like, I was off over that period, and I called up Bish and I said, I got to be at that show. I got to be at that show because I got to say goodbye. I got to thank the people, because if it wasn't for the people, my career never happens. Because unlike boxing or UFC, like, you get in that ring with somebody, you just knock them the fuck out, you win, and you move up. You knock them out, you win, you move up. I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but professional wrestling is predetermined. And
there's no Santa Claus either, damn it.
Don't go there. Don't go there. In my business, the only reason I got over was because of this. And what I'm saying, the diamond cutter sign, it gave people like something to do with me to acknowledge they loved what I was doing. And when you walk out there and 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people do this. I mean, I was at WrestleMania about 3 years ago, and I was in the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I was the only one to have entrance music besides Shaq. Shaq did.
That's right.
And I did. And I got a picture of me standing up on that crazy lane in Dallas Stadium, 101,000 people. You can only see a section, but my little body with a diamond cutter sign up, there's tens of thousands of people. And what I did was 20 years ago, but they still were a part of the journey. And because when I'd walk out and throw it up or hit my sign and people jump out of their seats and throw the sign up when I hit my move, the diamond cutter, you can't not push that guy because he's drawing ratings.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And we followed all along the way, man. It's been tremendous. Last question is, who was easier to work with, the mailman, Carl Malone, or the worm, Dennis Rodman?
Dennis was an amazing character and an unbelievable athlete, obviously. Carl really wanted to be good out there. I would say that Dennis was an amazing character, and Carl's mechanics in the ring, and he had fire, man. Carl was amazing. I got to give it to Carl, not because was my partner and I trained him, but just because he really put the work in. He came and spent 3 weeks with me, and I walked him through everything. Dennis was more of a red light performer.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I'll tell you what, let's look at his history. Oh, kind of did that as he won one championship after another as well, because they don't win all those championships. They don't win those last 3 without Dennis Rodman. They just don't win them.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, that's great stuff. DDP, hope everybody, all of our listeners will go download the app. You can get started. You can get trials. You can get going. You're talking about 30% off for the holidays. Even my man, Noah, who turned 36 today, he might even become a professional wrestler at 36 because we could get him going. Otherwise, we're sending his ass down to the accountability crib. It's going to be it's going to happen, man. We got to come down to Atlanta, man, and say hi and see how the whole operation works, man. We got to do it sometime.
Let's do this. Because I got a pretty good podcast system I'm getting set up here, but it's just so I can do other people's, not my own. Why don't you two monkeys get your ass down here, spend 2 days with me? You stay, my house is like it's like a wellness, spa, from hot tubs, steam rooms, infrared saunas, cryo machine, hyperbaric chamber. I mean, I've got everything here. Come and spend a couple, and we'll do the show live from here. What you're doing, I'm calling you out.
Let's do it. We'll set it up.
Absolutely.
Have a great holiday, man. Take care. Stay positive. You're the best. Thank you so much, DDP.
All right, guys. It's been your pleasure.
Yes, it has. Thank you.
Glad you got to see us, DDP. Yeah.
See you, boys.
See ya.
Yeah.